What's going on there, YouTube, and welcome back to another comic book video. We are going to begin our coverage over John Byrne's Wonder Woman's run. It wasn't that long, but he did come in the middle of the 1990s, maybe around 1995, where he came in and tried to change things up to the character and bring some new flavor to the character. Because we have to remember that at this point for DC Comics, the entire comic book industry was struggling, but DC was probably struggling the most and was trying to bring some life to their books. So they brought over John, and he began to tell this story and bring in some new ideas and characters to hopefully get the book sold. Also, he was the guy who held some value to his name, meaning that if you see his name, people are most likely to pick it up and see what he's trying to do with what character that he is currently working on. Now, his first story arc was only 4 parts, but also this is Wonder Woman fighting against Darkseid, which honestly was a beatdown of sorts because Darkseid is someone who cannot be stopped by just one person in most cases. Now, the first thing John Byrne actually does with the character of Wonder Woman is that he moves her over to a new city. Now, when I say a new city, I don't mean like it's a brand new city being built for the first time ever in DC Comics. No, it's new to Wonder Woman. And what I mean by that is when it came to Gateway City, it's been around for a very long time. Matter of fact, it first appeared back in 1966 in Showcase number 60. And so Gateway City's been around for a very long time, but it's new to Wonder Woman because before John Byrne, when it came to the character of Wonder Woman, she always been bouncing around to different cities across America, unlike Batman and Superman, where Batman has Gotham and Superman has Metropolis. But when it came to Wonder Woman, her main city was really everywhere. She was in Washington, she was in Boston, and so her coming to Gateway City, this is actually a new thing. Now, with that being said though, right now, when she does arrive, she has to realize that the crime rate is really high here. Now, something else to also mention about Gateway City is known for holding the most Greek artifacts out of any city across the world, which honestly is a great thing for the character of Wonder Woman, which means that she could have some new adventures when it comes to these Greek artifacts. Either way, right now, when she does arrive into Gateway City, she comes to find out that there is a crime currently going on, and the police officers need some help. Now, when it came to John Byrne, he also wasn't just the writer for the book, but he also was the artist for the book as well, which honestly is a great thing because when it came to John Byrne, his artwork was somewhat popular in the 80s and 90s. And so with that being said right now, is him kind of showing off his abilities as an artist, but at the same time as a writer as well. And so we do see Diana go down there and she does try to handle the crime that's currently going on. And you do have John Byrne really use a couple pages, really 3 pages, to show off an action scene, but to also show off his artwork, which honestly works out for me because I actually like the panels of this book so far. It's a great piece of work when it comes to art from John Byrne. Now, Wonder Woman was actually able to stop the crime. Now, when she does, of course, she wants to know what in the world is going on here. Because if she is going to actually stay here in Gateway City, she needs to know everything that is currently going on. Now, you do have an officer actually tell her, okay, let me explain. So these guys right here, they're actually known as the Anarchy Incorporated. And apparently last night they had announced that they were going to attack this bank. Now the officer does tell Diana that luckily she came through. And the reason why, because when it came to this anarchy group, the weapons they have right now are some high-tech weapons, and the police officers do not stand a chance against these weapons at all. And so they're very happy that she actually did step in, stop the criminals, and of course, prevented a bank robbery. But the question is though, where these guys get their weapons from? Because you do have the officer actually tell her that in the last 2 weeks, apparently different kind of criminal organizations have been getting a lot of high-tech weapons, but unfortunately the officers have no idea where these weapons are coming from. And so what you have Diana actually do, she takes one of the thugs that she had actually stopped to question him. Now at first, he does not want to tell her anything at all. But she does use the lasso of truth on him to hopefully gather some kind of information to figure out where in the world him and his group and other groups are getting their weapons from. But then we jump forward 22 hours later. Now, when we actually do pick up with some guy, which of course could be a police officer, going undercover. Now, unfortunately, we do not get a chance to learn his name just yet, but we do see him right now going to a nearby bar. Now, when he does go to this bar, this is him trying to gather intel on hoping that he'll find some kind of information on who is selling weapons in Gateway City. Now, when he does go to the bar, he does go to the bartender, and he does tell the bartender, hey, a friend of mine told me if I needed some kind of weapon, I should find Lucky O'Shea. Now, right off the bat, that is our first clue of figuring out who is selling weapons in Gateway City, a guy known as Lucky O'Shea. Now, when it comes to the bartender, he's very upset. And the reason why, because the name Lucky O'Shea should not be mentioned so freely around the world right now, or the area, which means that if this guy knows the exact name of the dealer, then something is off, because the name of the dealer should be Hush Hush. And so that is the moment you do have a bunch of guys in this bar wanting to kill this man off, because again, Lucky O'Shea's name should not be mentioned at all, or even known to regular people like him. Now, that is the moment he is saved by Wonder Woman. Now, when he is saved by Wonder Woman, of course, he's kind of surprised that she is here. But on top of that, we do get our confirmation that he is an officer who was undercover. Now, with that being said, though, right now, they do work together to take out the thugs in this bar. Now, when it comes to these two characters, they actually met earlier in this book, because he was the officer who told her everything she wanted to know about the Anarchy group and also Gateway City. Now remember, after that, she flew away with one thug to hopefully gather some kind of intel about who is selling weapons here in Gateway City, where of course that guy she took away told her, hey, go to this bar right here and you'll learn more about who's behind the gun dealing. Now, with that being said, though, when it comes to our officer here, which again, we have no idea what his name is, he does tell us that he had continued wanting to investigate, and he also got information about coming to this bar to figure out who in the world is selling weapons here in Gateway City. And so then you have Wonder Woman and our officer here being able to find a metal door. Now, when they do find this metal door, you do have our mysterious officer here try his best at first to actually open up the door. But of course, when he tries, he's unable to actually do it. Now, you then have Diana try, and when she does, of course, she rips the door right off the wall. And so they see there is this huge hallway. Now, when it comes to this hallway, it actually goes deep underground. But the thing is, they have to go down and to figure out who in the world is out there right now selling weapons left and right in Gateway City. And so they have no choice but to go down those tunnels to hopefully find out who's behind all this mess. Now, when they go down the hallways, of course, their walk takes forever. These hallways go on forever. But then you have Diana realize something is about to pop off very soon. And so she tells the officer, when things pop off, get ready to run. Like, run back to the surface. Now, that is the moment you actually do have Diana be attacked by some weird mechanical machine or some kind of creature. We have no idea. As a matter of fact, the book right here does not tell us what kind of creature she's fighting against. Just know that at first, it did seem like she may be able to actually handle this thing, but of course, over time, she can't. And the thing is able to actually overcome her attacks and beat her down. On top of that, our mysterious character also gets captured as well. Now, This right here is actually kind of important because you're going to see parademons. And I feel like a lot of fans forgot what parademons used to look like before the new 52, but you do have some parademons being able to actually grab our mysterious officer here. Now, when they do grab him, they do tell him and Diana to stay down and get ready to meet your true ruler, Darkseid. And so we come to find out that Darkseid has a hand in what's happening right now in Gateway City. And so getting into the second chapter of this book, we actually do pick up right now with Diana being tortured. Now, with her being tortured right now, this is Darkseid trying to gather some kind of information that he wants from her. Now, he does have one of his followers with him, Darkseid. I honestly have a hard time pronouncing his name. I don't know why. Either way, right now, one of his followers is there, and they're helping Darkseid being able to actually gather information that he wants to get from Diana. Now, the officer from earlier is still alive. He's just right now bound to a chair. And by the way, let me go ahead and tell you his real name. His real name is Mike. And matter of fact, he is a John Byrne creation, and only John Byrne actually used the character. No one else really did use the character after John Byrne had left the title. Either way though, right now he's bound to a chair, and he's watching Diana being tortured by Darkseid and Darkseid. Now, while they're torturing Diana, once again, we do hear Darkseid telling us that he's trying to gather some kind of information from her. Now, with that being said, Darkseid also tells us that he met Diana back in Action Comics number 600. Now, their meeting was only briefly, but of course, with her being met by Darkseid, Darkseid realized something special about her, and he wanted information about her and possibly her people as well. Either way though, you do have Diana being able to break free. Now, you may think, okay, we are going to see a battle between Darkseid and Wonder Woman, which honestly, we don't. But she does beat down on the parademons and other creatures that are working for Darkseid at the moment. But once she's done with those guys, you have Darkseid actually leave. Now, when he does leave, he does mention that he was able to get what he actually wanted from Diana, and he's gone just like that. When she does try to follow him, it's too late. He's already gone. Now, when it comes to the second chapter of this book, you do have Diana break Mike out. And once she does that right there, it's now time for her and Mike to figure out where in the world they're at right now and to hopefully get out of these tunnels. Now, for Diana, she thinks that because they were knocked out earlier, there could be a high chance that they're no longer at Gateway City anymore. They're most likely somewhere else. But unfortunately, she cannot confirm that. Either way, you do have Diana right now and Mike begin to make their way back to the surface, getting out of these underground tunnels. But what Diana said earlier is true, that when they got knocked out in the last chapter, of course Darkseid had transported them somewhere else, and he took them to Apocalypse. And this is a problem because that means they're no longer on Earth. But with that being said, once they realize where they're at right now, you didn't have Diana feel a tad bit exhausted, because when it came to Darkseid's machine, it did torture her. She did break free, but it did do a number on her. And so with that happening, she does of course pass out. But when she does pass out, she passes out at the wrong time, because that is the moment a group of parademons surround her and Mike, and right now it's just Mike to protect her against all these parademons. But then we go inside the mind of Diana. Now, when we do, we actually see her right now, what seems to be her reliving a moment in her life, which could have been true or could it be a fake memory? Because the reason why I say that is because right now we do see her reliving this certain kind of memory where she does fight against Superman, and right now they're fighting on Olympus, of course the home to the Greek gods. Now, while the two characters are fighting against one another, Olympus just keeps changing over and over and over, but Superman and Wonder Woman, they continue to battle on. Now, while they continue to fight, of course, it somehow leads them to where Darkseid was hiding at on Olympus. Now, when it comes to her memory, it does seem like her and Superman worked together to fight against Darkseid. But unfortunately, at the end of her memory, Darkseid, Superman, and Darkseid had all disappeared, leaving her alone in her own dream. And that is the moment she does wake up. And so that is the moment we do jump over to Diana waking up. Now, when she does wake up, that is the moment she is confronted by the parademons. Well, we thought were parademons, but they're not parademons. Either way, that is the moment she is confronted by Metron. Now, when it comes to Metron, we have to remember that he holds all knowledge of everything going on across the universe. And so with that being said right now, this is Metron right now trying to tell Diana what is Darkseid's master plan. And what he says is that when it comes to Darkseid's master plan, it involves the Greek gods. Now, the reason why Darkseid is going after the Greek gods is because their origin is heavily tied into the origin of the new gods. And you do have Metron explain, because when it comes to the old gods, when they died, thanks to their Ragnarok, all that energy that was left behind, it had to travel somewhere, and it did. It created the new gods' home worlds, New Genesis and Apocalypse. And of course, it gave birth to a bunch of new gods. But that same power source began to travel all over the universe. Part of that power source went to Earth. And when it did, it gave birth to, of course, the Greek gods. Now, when it comes to Darkseid, what he is actually seeking for is more power. But that power is coming from the Greek gods. And so right now, you have Darkseid actually attacking Themyscira. And the reason why, because on Themyscira is where he'll be able to actually find the power source that he is looking for. The power source that comes from the Greek gods. And so right now, Paradise Island, Themyscira, is being attacked by Darkseid, while Diana is still on Apocalypse, and you have Metron showing her what's happening to her home. And so getting into the third chapter of today's video, we actually do pick up with Diana and Mike both arriving to Themyscira. Of course, thanks to Metron, he was able to teleport the two characters back to Earth and of course over to Themyscira, so that Diana might have a chance to actually stop Darkseid. Now, with all that being said though, when they do arrive, this is actually the moment where Mike finally tells her his name. Which honestly, I'm kind of like, dude, you traveled across the universe and you just now telling her your name after you guys took down a bunch of different parademons, thugs, and you fought against Darkseid. Now you want to tell her your name. Either way, when they do arrive to Themyscira, you do have Diana hint that she was not born here, that she was created here. Because remember, when it comes to Diana, her origins do get a tad bit chopped up here and there over the years in DC Comics. But by this point, I want to say that she was actually created on Themyscira, not born here. Either way though, when they do arrive to Themyscira, that is the moment you do have Darkseid appear. And so then that's the moment we do jump into a battle between Diana and Mike against Darkseid and also his parademons. Now, honestly, this is not a fair fight. Well, it is, I guess, because how powerful Diana truly is. But at the same time, though, her only backup is literally Mike. That is it. And Mike is just a regular day cop. Either way, you do have Diana show off her abilities to fight against an army of parademons, and she does beat down. At the same time, this gives John Byrne some reason to show us how great his artwork truly is, because a homeboy did his work when it comes to this fight scene right here. But then you have Mike, of course, get captured by Darkseid. Now, at first, you have Diana want to fight Darkseid, but she realized if she does move closer, Darkseid might snap the neck of Mike. Now, Mike does say, hey, listen, go ahead, let me die. But if I do die, make sure you do stop Darkseid and get revenge for destroying your home. But unfortunately, Darkseid looks at Mike like, You know, for a human, you have a whole lot of courage in you. And I like that about you. I really do like that about you. And so you have Darkseid throw Mike away, but to say, come at me. If you want to stop me, then let's fight here and now, Diana. Now, that is the moment we do jump over to Themyscira. Now, when we do, we actually do pick up with the two new characters who are going to be the bad guys of later books for Wonder Woman. Now, the first character we do see is Theophilus Warley, and I really hope I pronounced that first name correctly, but we are going to call him Warley for the rest of the series. Now, when it comes to Warley, he actually does work for Morgan Le Fay. Now, this is a different version of Morgan Le Fay over here at DC Comics, unlike Marvel Comics. Now, when it comes to Morgan Le Fay, she is the, I want to say, ex-wife to King Arthur, and of course, the half-brother to King Arthur. I could be wrong on that fact right there, but either way, they do have a child together, and that child is Mondred. Now, when it came to Morgan Le Fay, she was always seeking more power over time. And of course, she always found more ways to get more power, but the problem was, though, she kept wanting more, to the point that she could have had destroyed the entire universe because she wanted more power left and right. Now, it got down to the point where she was unable to get more power, but she now can live forever. Now, here's the thing. Even though she has been living on for centuries, she has lost her beauty. And that right there really does bother her. And that is where Diana kind of steps in, because apparently Diana is needed for something special, something very important for Morgan Le Fay to regain her beauty, to actually have the eternal life that she actually wants. And so right now, you do have her tell Warley that it's about time to bring Diana over to her so that she'll be able to complete whatever plan she has to regain her true beauty, but also the eternal life that she thinks she deserves. But getting back over to Diana, and of course Mike as well, because he was being held captive by Darkseid, we're about to get that one big huge battle between Diana and Darkseid, but unfortunately something else even happens before we can see the final battle between the two characters. Because while you have Diana trying to tell Darkseid to go ahead and give up, and that she's not going to give up, that she'll keep fighting until the very end, that is the moment you do have the rest of the Amazons actually appear. Now, the reason why they weren't here earlier, because, well, when Darkseid arrived, he did a number to their army, and so they went into hiding. But because they see Diana is back, they have the courage to come back out and try to fight against Darkseid and his forces one more time. Now, at first, what we saw was Diana defeating a small army of parademons. And right now, with her and the Amazons, they truly believe that they have a chance to actually defeat Darkseid. The problem is, though, Darkseid was actually playing around, because that is the moment you have Darkseid say, guys, y'all messed up here. Y'all literally messed up here. Like, here's my entire army right now. And this entire army of forces that work for Darkseid just come out of nowhere and begin to attack Themyscira all over the island. It does look like the end for the island. And matter of fact, the last few panels of this chapter right here, the way John Byrne wrote it and drew it, guys, he's trying to tell us right now, this is the end of Themyscira, or it could be the end for Themyscira. And so then we pick up with Diana, and we do see Diana right now standing tall, even though she went through a lot, and I mean a lot of things throughout this entire story. She does stand tall. She does stand tall enough to say, I am not going down that easily. And when it comes to her fellow sisters, the same thing as well. Now, some Amazonians did die in this battle, but not all of them. Now, for Darkseid, he likes what he sees. He loves to see his opponent not give up and wanting to continue to battle. But Darkseid realized something, that if he does, there is a possibility that he could lose. And with that possibility, Darkseid is going to retreat because he hates the idea of losing at all. And so you have Darkseid say, nope, I'm out of here. Don't worry, I'll be back. But I'm going to leave you for right now so that you may bury your dead ones in peace. I'm going to tell you right now, we will see each other again down the road. And when we do, that is when I will get what I want. And that is when I'll be able to say I had defeated Diana, Wonder Woman. Now, this is where we actually pick up with the funeral for the dead ones, the dead Amazonians, who fought alongside with Wonder Woman as they fought against Darkseid, but really lost against Darkseid. But either way, this is where they begin to burn the bodies. Now, when they do burn the bodies, of course, their spirits are able to travel on to the next step in the afterlife. Now, with that being said, though, you do have some of the sisters getting very upset. And the reason why, because of Mike being there. They feel like with Mike being there is a problem. Because remember, when it comes to Amazonians and Themyscira, men are not allowed on Paradise Island. And so with that, with Mike being there, it is a problem. But on top of that, it's also a problem for Mike to see their ritual as they say goodbye to their fallen sisters. But you have Diana remind them, he was there with us, fighting along with us against Darkseid and his army of parademons. And honestly, he deserved to see our ritual as we all say goodbye to our fellow warriors, our fellow sisters, as they do move on to the afterlife. He was there with them. So why should we hold him back? Why should we say, sorry, man, you cannot see this? Because he's a guy? That is not fair. And because I'm the princess, I only answer to my mother, and that is it. And so you have Diana say, he is going to be able to see our ritual as we do say goodbye to our fellow sisters. And of course, they do the ritual, and we do see a bunch of spirits go up in the sky to the afterlife. It's Wonder Woman and her fellow Amazonians saying goodbye to their fallen Amazonians. Now, this is the moment where you do have Warley informing Morgan Le Fay that unfortunately, when it comes to Wonder Woman, she is no longer in Gateway City. Now, guys, don't worry. She'll go back to Gateway City. It's just right now she's been away for an entire week because of what happened over in Themyscira on Paradise Island. And so right now, it's really Warley saying, hey, I can't find her. I have no idea where she went to, but here's some good news for you. Jason Blood has been found. Now, Jason Blood is going to be very important for the next story. Either way, it's right now Warley telling her, we found Jason Blood, and right now your agents are working very hard to bring him back over here to Gateway City. Now, unfortunately, though, it may take a while. And so you do have Morgan Le Fay use a teleportation spell to hopefully teleport Jason Blood back over to Gateway City. But she still needs Wonder Woman. And so with that being said, she has to wait until she comes back into Gateway City. And so then we jump back over to Diana. Now, when we do, this is Diana right now just trying to help out Paradise Island. Because thanks to Darkseid and his forces, a lot of places were wrecked. And so right now, she's trying to help the Amazonians rebuild their island. Now, with that being said, though, of course, she does bring up her mother, Hippolyta. Because if you have not realized, Hippolyta has not been seen in this entire storyline, especially the parts where you have the Amazonians fighting against Darkseid. And so you would think the queen of the Amazons would be here, but unfortunately she is not. And we kind of find out that when Diana left Paradise Island, a few weeks later, Hippolyta left as well. Now this is huge because without Diana being around, Hippolyta felt like, how do I put this? She felt nothing in her life anymore. She felt no more purpose in her life anymore. Because originally, when she had her daughter, her goal was to raise her daughter and to hopefully have her daughter be the queen of the Amazons. But with her daughter being gone, she felt lost. She felt like she lost her meaning in life. And right now, she needs to find that new meaning. Something out there is calling for her and she must go out there and find it. And so with her kind of stepping down as queen, she does put Philippus as the new queen of the Amazons. Now, here's the thing. With Diana being there, of course, that means that she's now next in line to be the queen of the Amazons. But when it comes to Diana, she also says, no, my place is not here. I'm needed out there. I need to be Wonder Woman. The entire world need me, not just Paradise Island. But on top of that, the island needs a powerful queen, a queen that is actually ready to lead the people of this island in the right direction after a battle against someone like Darkseid. And that person right now is not me. Yes, I did have years on years of training to be a queen like my mother, but still, I am not ready just yet. The entire world needs me. And so with her saying that, she's telling Philippus to continue on and to be the queen of the Amazons, which of course she says yes, and Diana gets ready to head back to Gateway City. And so to close off this video, but to set up the next one, which is Lifelines, we do see Mike and Wonder Woman being able to actually arrive back to Gateway City. Now, something I do want to mention is that when it comes to Gateway City, it's in the West Coast. Matter of fact, I want to say it's off the coast of California. Either way, though, right now, you do have Mike mentioning that he had no idea that Paradise Island was so close to California. And the reason why he is saying that, because how fast they traveled from Paradise Island over to California. But that is the moment you have Diana say, no, when it comes to Paradise Island, it's actually on its own plane of existence. But her fellow sisters do have the ability to tell the island to land anywhere on the earth when they feel like it, which of course is another plane of existence. And so when they're able to leave, they go back to their own plane of existence. And so no, if you do go out there trying to find Paradise Island, good luck, because technically it's not on Earth's plane of existence. It's on a different plane of existence. But with that being said, though, this is where we are going to end today's comic book video. So please leave me a like down below and subscribe. Also, if you have any suggestions on books I should read, well, please let me know in the comments below, because you never know, your suggestion could be a future video down the road. But guys, I'll see y'all next time. Later.